This morning, a 73-year-old woman passed away quietly in her home. She was healthy, or so everyone thought. Her passing has left her community in shock, especially because the signs were there, but no one paid attention. What if her death could have been prevented? What if there are things we all do in our 70s that silently push us closer to the edge without even realizing it? Today, we're diving into 6 crucial things every senior must avoid to live longer, healthier, and with more vitality. These aren't just opinions. They're backed by research, real-life stories, and medical insights that could very well save your life. Stick with me until the end. Your future just might depend on it. For many people entering their 70s, sleep often becomes an afterthought, something to shrug off with a laugh and a cup of coffee the next morning. But make no mistake, the quality of your sleep isn't just about feeling rested. It's directly linked to how long and how well you live. As we age, our sleep architecture changes. We spend less time in the deep, restorative stages of sleep and more time tossing, turning, and waking up in the middle of the night. That's not just annoying. It's dangerous. Studies from the National Institute on Aging show that fragmented sleep in older adults is closely tied to higher risks of cardiovascular disease, weakened immunity, and even cognitive decline. When your body doesn't get that deep rest, it doesn't repair itself properly. Your brain doesn't clear out beta-amyloid, those sticky proteins linked to Alzheimer's. Your blood pressure stays high. Your mood plummets. Your blood sugar rises. And over time, these small, invisible damages accumulate into something much more serious. That 73-year-old woman? She complained about not sleeping well for months, brushing it off as just part of getting older. But the truth is, poor sleep isn't normal aging. It's a red flag. Seniors often deal with sleep apnea, restless leg syndrome, and even undiagnosed insomnia. And because they don't recognize the danger, they don't seek help. But getting treatment, whether that's through a sleep study, better sleep hygiene, or medication under guidance, can dramatically reduce risk. In fact, one large-scale study from Harvard found that seniors who get at least 7 hours of high-quality sleep have a 60% lower risk of developing dementia compared to those who don't. Think about that for a moment. Simply improving your sleep can protect your brain, your heart, and your longevity. Start by creating a consistent bedtime routine, limiting blue light exposure at night, and avoiding heavy meals or alcohol before bed. Make your bedroom a sanctuary, quiet, dark, cool, and comfortable. Avoid daytime naps that go beyond 20 minutes and try to get morning sunlight exposure to reset your internal clock. Most importantly, don't be afraid to bring up sleep concerns with your doctor. It's not just about sleeping better, it's about living better for longer. And as we continue through this video, you'll see that sleep is the foundation beneath every other health pillar. Ignore it, and everything else begins to crumble. Prioritize it, and you might just add years not just to your life but to the quality of it. In your 70s, every hour you spend sitting could be quietly draining years off your life. The human body was never designed for stillness. It was made to move, stretch, bend, walk, and adapt. Yet many seniors spend more than 10 hours a day in a seated or reclined position, often in front of the TV or reading, thinking they've earned their rest after a lifetime of hard work. While rest is vital, inactivity is not. The World Health Organization has repeatedly warned that a sedentary lifestyle is one of the top risk factors for mortality worldwide, right up there with smoking and poor diet. But the danger becomes even more potent in the later decades of life. Muscle mass, bone density, cardiovascular efficiency, and metabolic function all naturally decline with age. Sitting accelerates that decline dramatically. Research published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine found that adults over 70 who remained sedentary for more than 8 hours a day were 67% more likely to die prematurely than their more active peers, even if they exercised for 30 minutes a day. Let that sink in. 30 minutes of exercise doesn't undo 10 hours of sitting. Movement needs to be woven throughout your entire day. When the 73-year-old woman passed away, her medical records showed heart complications, poor circulation, and undiagnosed deep vein thrombosis, conditions worsened by her increasingly sedentary habits. She lived alone, spent long periods on the couch, and often postponed walks, blaming bad weather or fatigue. But small, consistent movements could have made a massive difference. You don't need to run marathons or lift heavy weights. Just standing up every 30 minutes, stretching, walking around the house, doing light resistance training, or joining a senior-friendly fitness class can work wonders. Movement activates lymphatic drainage, supports blood flow to the brain, improves insulin sensitivity, and reduces inflammation. It also improves balance, which prevents falls, one of the leading causes of injury and death in seniors. There's also a mental health component. Physical activity releases endorphins, lowers anxiety, and staves off depression, which is increasingly common in older adults. Social forms of movement like group dance classes, Tai Chi, or mall walking groups add an extra layer of connection, which is just as vital for longevity. If mobility is limited, even seated exercises can help. Chair yoga, resistance bands, or simple arm and leg movements done throughout the day can reignite muscle memory and slow the body's natural decline. Start by setting a timer every hour to remind yourself to get up, stretch, or walk a bit. Reorganize your home to encourage movement. Put essentials upstairs, turn on music that makes you sway, or get a dog that nudges you to go outside. The message here is simple but urgent. Motion is medicine. And in your 70s, it's the kind that doesn't come in a bottle. The more you move, the more you signal to your body and brain that you still have places to go, people to see, and a life worth living. At 73, your body doesn't just need food, it needs fuel, protection, and precision. And yet, one of the quiet killers in old age is poor nutrition, often hidden behind quick meals, skipped breakfasts, and an over-reliance on processed convenience foods. As metabolism slows and appetite naturally decreases with age, the quality of every bite becomes far more important than the quantity. Unfortunately, many seniors fall into patterns of nutritional neglect without even realizing it. It often starts with good intentions, a frozen dinner here, a snack bar there, maybe canned soup because it's easy and cheap. But these foods are typically packed with sodium, preservatives, refined sugars, and unhealthy fats. The result? A diet that's calorically dense but nutritionally empty. Over time, this imbalance quietly undermines organ function, weakens bones, dulls mental sharpness, and increases the risk of chronic diseases like type 2 diabetes, hypertension, and even certain cancers. The woman who passed away had developed subtle signs of malnutrition, despite not being visibly underweight. Her blood work showed severe vitamin D and B12 deficiencies, both of which are incredibly common in older adults and directly linked to fatigue, poor balance, memory issues, and heart complications. These deficiencies don't make headlines or cause pain overnight. They chip away at your health like a silent thief in the background. According to the National Resource Center on Nutrition and Aging, more than 1 in 4 older adults in the U.S. are either malnourished or at risk of becoming so. That's not because food is unavailable. It's because the wrong kinds of food are being consumed. As the digestive system becomes less efficient with age, the need for nutrient-dense, easily digestible meals becomes critical. Lean proteins, leafy greens, legumes, nuts, low-glycemic fruits, and healthy fats like those found in avocados and olive oil should be mainstays. Hydration is equally vital. Many seniors experience a diminished sense of thirst and end up chronically dehydrated, which impacts kidney function, blood pressure, and energy levels. Add to that the fact that many convenience foods are dehydrating and loaded with hidden salt, and you have a recipe for long-term damage. Planning meals with intention, meals that are colorful, fresh, and minimally processed, can make a profound difference. Smoothies with kale, chia seeds, and berries. Roasted vegetables with quinoa. Wild-caught salmon with a side of steamed broccoli. These aren't luxury meals. They're lifelines. Supplementation may also be necessary, especially for nutrients like vitamin D, calcium, magnesium, and omega-3s, but these should be guided by regular blood tests and a trusted healthcare provider, not guesswork or flashy labels. Food also plays a role in mental health. Diets rich in whole foods and low in sugar have been shown to lower the risk of depression and cognitive decline in seniors. Cooking, too, becomes a therapeutic act, an expression of care for oneself. The key is consistency, not perfection. A senior who eats clean 80% of the time while allowing for occasional indulgences is miles ahead of someone who lives on microwave meals and soda. If mobility or energy is an issue, consider preparing meals in bulk, using meal delivery services designed for seniors, or even joining a local meal share program where neighbors cook for each other once a week. Don't underestimate the power of what's on your plate. In your 70s, nutrition is no longer optional self-care. It's strategic armor against aging. One of the gravest mistakes many people make in their 70s is assuming that no news is good news when it comes to health. But in this chapter of life, silence from your body isn't always a sign of wellness. It can often be the quiet before the storm. Many chronic conditions common in older adults develop subtly, with few or no warning signs until it's too late. High blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, colon cancer, kidney dysfunction, glaucoma, thyroid disease, these and many others can silently progress for years before symptoms appear. Regular medical checkups act as the radar system that detects what's happening beneath the surface. And yet, far too many seniors only go to the doctor when something feels wrong or worse, when it's already escalated to an emergency. The 73-year-old woman who passed away had canceled her last 2 routine checkups, citing inconvenience and the belief that she felt fine. But behind that sense of wellness, a slow-growing cardiac condition had been developing. Her blood pressure had been inching upward over the last 2 years, her cholesterol was borderline, and her heart rhythm had become irregular. All of it was discoverable, manageable, and potentially reversible, if it had been caught in time. The tragedy wasn't just in her passing, but in how preventable it might have been. A comprehensive checkup at least once a year can detect these ticking time bombs early. And comprehensive doesn't just mean a quick blood pressure check and a stethoscope to the chest. It means blood panels, kidney function tests, eye exams, bone density scans, cancer screenings, and mental health evaluations. It means reviewing all medications to ensure they're not interacting negatively, especially since the average senior takes at least 5 prescriptions daily. It means checking for hearing loss, balance issues, and subtle cognitive decline that could otherwise go unnoticed. And it means fostering a relationship with a primary care physician who understands your history, your values, and your goals for aging well. Preventive care isn't about living in fear. It's about living in awareness. A study published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society found that seniors who attended annual wellness visits had significantly lower hospitalization rates and higher survival rates than those who didn't. It's not just about early diagnosis. It's about course correction. Early signs of kidney strain can be reversed through hydration and diet. Osteopenia can be strengthened with targeted supplements and movement. Minor memory lapses can be stabilized before they turn into dementia. But none of that can happen if you avoid the doctor's office. For many seniors, there's also an emotional hurdle, fear of hearing bad news. But knowledge is power, and action is freedom. The goal isn't to live forever, it's to live well for as long as possible. That means putting pride, denial, and inconvenience aside and making those checkups non-negotiable. Bring a list of questions. Ask about your numbers. Don't settle for vague reassurances. Push for clarity. Advocate for yourself. Because the alternative is letting disease make decisions for you. In your 70s, regular health screenings are not optional. They are the difference between a future shaped by intention and one dictated by crisis. In the later stages of life, especially in your 70s, the walls around you can start to close in. Not because of physical illness, but because of social isolation. And unlike more visible health risks, this one often goes unnoticed until its consequences become devastating. The truth is, loneliness isn't just a sad feeling. It's a clinical risk factor for premature death. According to a meta-analysis conducted by Brigham Young University, chronic loneliness can be as harmful to your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Let that sink in. The same way we warn about the dangers of tobacco or obesity, we must now confront the invisible epidemic of social disconnection among older adults. The woman who died at 73 had lived alone for the past 6 years following the loss of her spouse. Her family checked in occasionally, neighbors waved in passing, but deep conversations, shared meals, laughter, and meaningful companionship had become rare. Over time, her world shrank to the size of her home, and eventually her bedroom. What many forget is that isolation weakens the immune system, raises blood pressure, increases inflammation, and disrupts sleep. But it also impacts cognition significantly. A study from the University of Chicago revealed that loneliness can increase the risk of Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia by more than 40%. That's not a small correlation. It's a warning flare. Human beings are wired for connection. In fact, our brains interpret isolation as a threat to survival, triggering a stress response that never really turns off. For seniors, this can lead to a cycle of anxiety, depression, and physical decline. When you stop engaging with others, you begin to withdraw from life itself. But the good news is, connection doesn't require a crowd. It only requires consistency and authenticity. A phone call with a friend every evening, a weekly lunch with a neighbor, joining a senior center for group activities, or even attending virtual classes can change everything. If you're physically limited, technology can bridge the gap. Video chats, social platforms tailored for older adults, and even pen pal programs for seniors are accessible and effective. Volunteering is another powerful antidote. It gives you purpose, connection, and the invaluable sense that you're still contributing to something larger than yourself. Churches, community gardens, libraries, and local charities are always in need of warm hands and experienced hearts. It's also important to acknowledge and address emotional isolation within families. Many seniors are surrounded by people yet feel completely alone. If your family is nearby, be honest with them. Let them know when you need more than just errands done. You need company, conversation, and shared time. If your circle has shrunk due to loss or relocation, consider expanding it intentionally. Social connection is not a luxury, it is a biological necessity. Just like you schedule your medications and doctor visits, schedule social interactions. Create a rhythm to your week that includes others, however modest. Because the heart that beats strongest isn't just the one that's exercised or nourished. It's the one that feels seen, heard, and valued. At 70 and beyond, a joyful, connected life isn't a memory. It can still be a reality. But it requires stepping outside of your emotional cocoon and remembering that even in solitude, you're never meant to live life alone. In your 70s, the focus on health often centers around the physical, managing blood pressure, maintaining mobility, and preventing disease. But there's a quieter, equally critical part of aging that's too often overlooked: mental and emotional health. The mind, like the body, requires maintenance, nourishment, and care. And yet many seniors dismiss feelings of sadness, anxiety, or emotional numbness as just part of getting older. But these feelings are not normal. They are symptoms, and left unchecked, they can erode quality of life and even shorten lifespan. The woman who passed away had shown subtle signs of emotional exhaustion for months. She'd stopped engaging in her favorite hobbies, her laughter had become rare, and her conversations were limited to surface-level exchanges. Her family assumed she was just tired or slowing down. In reality, she was quietly battling depression. It wasn't dramatic or obvious, it never is. Depression in older adults often looks different than it does in younger people. It can manifest as fatigue, irritability, memory problems, sleep disturbances, or a loss of appetite. And because these symptoms can mimic other age-related changes, they're frequently misdiagnosed or ignored. But make no mistake, untreated depression is a significant risk factor for physical decline. It weakens the immune system, increases pain perception, worsens chronic conditions, and, in many cases, leads to suicide, especially in older men whose suicide rates are among the highest of any demographic. And yet, studies show that, with proper treatment, over 80% of older adults recover from depression. The challenge lies in recognition and willingness to seek help. Emotional well-being doesn't come from pretending everything is fine. It comes from building resilience, connection, and self-awareness. One of the most powerful tools for mental health is therapy, and it's never too late to start. Whether it's traditional talk therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, or even group therapy designed specifically for seniors, speaking with a mental health professional can provide clarity and healing. Practices like mindfulness and meditation have also shown immense benefits in seniors, helping to reduce anxiety, improve sleep, and lower blood pressure. Even 5 minutes a day of focused breathing or guided meditation can create space between stressful thoughts and reactive emotions. Journaling is another simple but effective practice. Writing down thoughts each morning or evening can ease mental clutter and foster emotional clarity. Staying mentally active is equally important. Read books that challenge your thinking, learn a new language, pick up an instrument, do puzzles, or try online courses. These activities keep neural pathways strong and give the mind a sense of purpose. Laughter, too, is medicine. Watch comedies, call old friends who bring you joy, or attend community events that make you feel alive. Don't underestimate the value of expressing gratitude, even during hard times. Gratitude has been linked to better sleep, lower inflammation, and improved mood. And perhaps most importantly, allow yourself to feel. Cry if you need to. Speak up when you're overwhelmed. You don't need to wear a mask of strength all the time. Vulnerability is not weakness. It's a sign of life. At 70 and beyond, your emotional well-being is not a footnote. It is a foundation. The mind and body are deeply connected, and if your heart is heavy, your body will bear the burden. Seek support, speak truthfully, and don't suffer in silence. Because growing older should never mean growing numb. It should mean growing into deeper joy, wisdom, and peace. And that journey begins not with pretending, but with paying attention.